Hello, I'm Kate, and welcome to Perfect Party in a Box. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive right into today's topic. How to save your marriage on the brink of divorce. Tips for saving your marriage. What I'm sharing today is not easy. The principles are simple, but unfortunately, simple and easy are not the same thing. If you are looking for an easy solution, you will need to look somewhere else. But if you want a solution that works, great. You're in the right place because I'm sharing things with you that you can start today. Things that can save a marriage on the edge of divorce. But it's not easy. You will need to do some hard stuff. First, some background. One of the nation's leading researchers in marriage and couples therapy, Dr. John Gottman, created a study 20 years ago. What he learned was that about 70% of all the problems in a marriage relationship are unresolvable. Unresolvable? What? For many couples, when that statistic is shared with them, they just throw their hands up and say, "What's the use?" Other couples are relieved because they realize they're not so unusual after all. The problems faced in a marriage are because of the differences. Differences create conflict, but differences also give purpose to the relationship. It's the differences that make us interesting to each other. Differences are essential to the relationship, but they also create conflict. Confusing, right? But here's where what Dr. Gottman found gets really interesting. That 70% is true for couples headed toward divorce, and it's also true for happy, stable couples. There was no difference in the number of unresolvable problems. There was also no difference in the nature or magnitude of these problems. That's not what made these two groups different. Did I just blow your mind? It isn't about the problems, and that's where marriage counseling fails us. When a couple goes to therapy, they go to see a therapist and sit on a couch and talk for an hour about their problems. And then the couple leaves, feeling worse than when they came. They feel like they've been beat up, or there is no hope for the relationship. It doesn't work. So what does work? What's the difference between unhappy and happy couples? They all have problems. That's not the difference. How they handle the problems. That's the difference. Dr. Gottman also found 4 warning signs that you are in a couple who is handling problems badly and are in an unhappy marriage or well on your way there. And he called them the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I'm not going into huge detail on these, but it's basically 4 ways of handling problems that are guaranteed to make everyone miserable. The 4 horsemen are number 1, criticism, number 2, defensiveness, number 3, contempt, and number 4, stonewalling. Stonewalling is basically turning away from each other instead of turning toward each other. Do you notice these things in your relationship? I'm not here to freak you out. I just want you to be aware, because if these things persist, and we know these things are not helpful to a marriage, it's not going to be a surprise what happens next. We need to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Common sense stuff right here. Now you know what doesn't work. So what works? How do you save a marriage on the brink of divorce? I want you to try a 5-day experiment. If you call it an experiment, your brain will have less resistance to it. It's just an experiment. I'm not asking you to change your whole life forever. Just experiment for 5 days. It's kind of a backdoor trick to get into your mind. Take a few notes, and you can start working on this experiment today. Just give it a try. After the 5 days, you can evaluate and see what's working or what's not. The first task of the experiment is called 95-5. This is the hardest thing I'm going to ask you to do today, and it's mostly just a switch in how you think. It's simple, but not easy. Remember, we talked about that already. 95-5 is a ratio. Most of us go into marriage thinking that it's a 50-50 deal. You do your half, I'll do mine, we'll all be happy. Nope, that doesn't work. You're already doing your half, right? And your marriage is still going down the tubes. So it's not 50-50. I want you to assume it's 95-5. I want you to assume 95% of the responsibility for your marriage. You can expect 5% from your spouse. It's not too hard. Pretty much anyone still breathing can do 5%. So your spouse is already doing enough. I know you're already thinking of all these things that your spouse could be doing better. And you're right, but it's not helpful to the situation. It's easy to think this whole thing would go better if my spouse would just shape up and take on some responsibility and do some work. But as soon as you do that, you are going to see the 4 horsemen on your horizon. Remember criticism? It doesn't work. You may be right, but that's not useful right now. So go with 95-5. This moves the focus from what can my spouse be doing better to what can I be doing better. I know that you will find some things to work on. Just think 95-5 for 5 days. Remember our experiment? The second task is 25-5. 95-5 is about focus. 25-5 is a gratitude exercise. For 5 days, I want you to make a written list of 25 things in your life for which you are truly grateful. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for change. I won't go into all the details, but trust me, there's science behind this. List 25 things you are grateful for today, and when you get to tomorrow, you make a whole new list, no repeats. At least half of your list every day needs to be about your spouse or your marriage. The things you are grateful for in it right now without changing a thing. Not how it could be or how it might be or how you plan to change it. The way it is right now. You may feel some resistance, and that's a good thing because it shows you are thinking in a whole new way. When you ask your mind to find something you're grateful for, your mind will find those things. Your brain is a powerful thing. The third task in this 5-day experiment is a daily triple play. I want you to give, send, and serve. Let's think about this. Give. On each of these 5 days, I want you to give your spouse a social gift. There are 4 social gifts. These concepts are taken from the book First Impressions, What You Don't Know About How Others See You by Anne Damaris. The social gifts are appreciation or gratitude, and you're already doing that with your gratitude list. So you can take something from your list and share it as a social gift with your spouse. Next is connection. Acknowledge the things you have in common and give the social gift of that connection that you have. The third gift is enlightenment, or the gift of knowledge. It usually starts with, hey, did you hear? Or did you know that? And then you give them some knowledge. The final gift is elevation. Elevation is exactly what it sounds like. An elevator lifts people, and like an elevator, you are going to lift your spouse. You are going to elevate and enhance and edify your spouse. This can be done with a pleasant face, just a smile. That lifts people's moods. Humor is another way to elevate. Keep things light or be less tight is another great elevator. That's the 4 social gifts. Give one of these gifts to your spouse every day for the 5-day experiment, starting today. The second part of the triple play is send. What do you send? A message. What is the message? It is simply that you value the relationship and you are willing and able to do what is required to make it work. Send this message every day for the 5-day experiment. It might be a little note, or buying your spouse's favorite candy bar and leaving it on the pillow, a thoughtful text, a touch, or a hug. Whatever it is, send the message that you value them. The final part of the triple play is serve. Serve your spouse. Do something that you don't ordinarily do to serve them. Do something special, something a little out of your way to make their life easier or pick up some of the slack in their life. Serve them in some small way each day of the 5-day experiment. I hope you took some notes because you may not remember all of this. It's going to be some work, but if you do these things, try this 5-day experiment, you can save your marriage. Thanks for stopping by today. If you enjoyed today's video and tips, please click the like button below. To make sure you never miss a video, click on the subscribe button. See you in the next video.